Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Hey, I want to tell you a story that'll bless you, but I want to first invite you to come tomorrow night, Friday, the 25th, to the Montessori Community School at 7537 Burton Drive, Liberty Township. And my band will be playing there, and then I'm going to preach a word. I wanted somebody else to do the worship. I was trying to get Marvin and them to do it again, but they had a previous engagement. Like the girls that I would always ask out in high school, had a previous engagement for some reason. I don't know, can't figure that out. But anyway, so invite y'all to come out there, and we're going to have a great service, and I got a good word for you. And then let's see, August the 24th, I'll be preaching Sammy Reed's camp meeting in Germantown at Ignited Church. And I was thinking of this story, and I was thinking of it last night, and I think it's really going to bless you. And me and the boys were in Texas staying at my friend Sean Butler's house, and he's got a ranch there, and we were down there for several days, and Elvis was going to some ropings, and I was going to some horse sales and things like that. And all of a sudden I noticed it was Wednesday night. And I thought, hey, I'm just going to Google here on my phone and see if there's a cowboy church close. And sure enough, there was 3 or 4 of them within just, 10-mile radius. And so I said, hey guys, it's 6:30. We can make it to this church and be on time. And they were kind of like, what if it's lame? What if it's, what if the music's awful? What if the preacher preaches 2 hours? They're like, what if it's, and I said, hey, what if we hear a word from the Lord? I said, the Bible says where there's 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I will be there. Jesus has promised to be there. So I said, you gotta find a treasure where people are gathered in the Lord. Something good's going to happen. So Elvis was like, oh gosh, I bet it's, I'm worried about what we're going to walk into. I said, it can't hurt us. And so we get to this little church, and there was 2 cars in the parking lot, I think, maybe 3. And they're like, all right, let's leave. There's like 3 people here. I'm like, hey, where 2 or 3 are gathered, there's 4 of us. So look here, if we go in here, we're going to double the size of the congregation. They're going to be happy. So we walked in there, and we didn't see anybody for a while. We was walking down this hallway. We're like, hello. And we finally hear somebody say hello, and we stick our head in this kitchen, and there's 4 elderly women in there, and the pastor, and probably a man in his 70s, and he was the youth group in that group right there. He was the youngest one, but they were in there eating. They had a boatload of food. They said, come on in, come on, y'all want to eat? I was like, no, we just ate, but we thought y'all was having church. And they said, well, we will now, since y'all are here. They said, let's go to the sanctuary. Elvis he's like, do not do this. Let's leave. And I said, no, come in. Something good's going to happen. And so to the point of my story, the pastor did, he said, reading in Ecclesiastes and going through and doing a little Bible study. And it was good. But the thing that I'll never forget for the rest of my life that touched me, I can't get over it. It's really changed me a lot, and I want to tell you what it was. And this is just how cool God is. They said, one lady was sitting there, and she said, somebody said, do you have a prayer request? So they was kind of going back and forth, and pray for my tomato plants or whatever. I can't remember what the prayer request was. But one lady said, Ruby went back to work. I think her name was Ruby, something like that. And they all clapped. They was like, yay, like that, clapped. And I was like, well, okay. And then one woman looked over at me. She knew that we were clueless on who this lady was. Now, this is a part that you're never going to forget. She said, Sister Ruby, I think that was her name, said she had one leg amputated above the knee. Then she had the other leg amputated above the knee. Then she had the first leg that she had amputated again up to the hip. Then after that, she got cancer, diagnosed with cancer. And so I guess she had been taking cancer treatments, and then she's able to go back to work, obviously a desk job or something like that. And this woman said she is the happiest, most thankful woman I have ever seen. She just praises the Lord with a smile on her face. And if you ask her how she's doing, she says, I am doing wonderful. I am blessed of the Lord. And I'm sitting here thinking, how on earth somebody had one leg amputated, the other one amputated, first one amputated again. Then you get diagnosed with cancer and go through cancer treatments, and you're still thankful and praising God. Listen, we've never had a bad day. We don't have anything that we can, I'm not sure I'd have a good attitude. And I tell you, it comes down to the joy of the Lord is our strength. Now, strength is not strength when you don't need it. Faith is not faith when you don't need it. But somebody that can have joy with no legs and cancer and still praising God is nothing less than the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that don't make sense. Jesus said, the peace that I give is not as the world gives. The world does give a temporary peace. They can give you raises, rewards, bonuses, titles, things that make you happy for a minute. But the thing that this woman had was what Paul and Silas had when they were hanging in jail by chains. And they were singing praises unto God with a supernatural joy that didn't even make sense in a rat-infested dungeon, and could sit there singing praises to God. I imagine they were laughing. I imagine they were just talking about the goodness of God and all this. And I'm telling you what, there is not one thing the world has that even compares to the joy of the Lord. When you can go through what that poor woman went through and still be praising God, and I'm just going to challenge you, if you've been complaining because, you drive a piece of junk car or this or that, or the problems that we think are big, think about that woman with no legs and cancer and still praising the Lord. I think about my buddy Jerome Davis. He's a world champion bull rider. And he got paralyzed from the chest down at a bull riding in Houston probably 20 years ago. And he is probably the happiest person I know. If you go to a rodeo or fraternity or anything like that, you come walk up and shake his hand. He's got a huge smile on his face. Never says one negative thing. I'm thinking, I don't think I could do that. I do not think that I could have that kind of attitude. Well, his grace is sufficient, so maybe I could. I don't know, but I just want to remind us to be thankful. In all things, give thanks. Not for everything, give thanks, but in all things, give thanks. And I just hope that testimony about that lady would bless you like it blessed me. And I think about it every time I think I'm having a real bad day and I just want to, put my fist through something, through a wall or something, like everything is going wrong. Then I think about the lady that I heard that testimony of. So anyway, I hope that blessed you, and I hope to see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. and the livestock man will be playing for about 30 minutes, and then we'll have a good word and a good time. So please come out and see me if you can. Love y'all. Bye.